nowhere do we require somebody who legally purchased and legally owns a firearm to then have to recertify their ability to own, or their lawful ability to own a firearm. That is silly, if we're going to use that word. Further, it's more restrictive than purchasing the firearm in the first place. You don't have to give your fingerprints to purchase a firearm. So if we are to believe, and I certainly know that the Foster Police Department would never retain records, but if we're to believe that the police department is not going to create a database of this information, then, and the only copy of the serial number, the model number, and the person's fingerprints is on the piece of paper given to them, why do they need it? I have my fingerprint with me at all times. I don't need it on a document. No, you can't point of order me because you don't.
Just a moment, guys, one at a time. Representative Knight, please, on your point of order.
Once again, it's a mischaracterization of the contents of the bill before us. There is no requirement that the fingerprint go on the paperwork. The fingerprint, it says fingerprint-based background check. And I respect everyone's right to speak on behalf, and certainly the minority leader's right to speak all he wants on this bill. That's his right. But nobody can mischaracterize the bill.
Thank you. Leader Chippendale, please continue.
Speaker, if every time somebody mischaracterizes a very complicated bill in this building, the sponsor gets up and complains, we're going to have really long sessions. I recommend he toughens up and listens to the debate. If he wants to rebut my assertions, he has the right to do so. Now, I will continue. Whether or not the fingerprint is on a card or a digital fingerprint, I don't care. The fingerprint is here with the person who has the firearm. To have to provide that under the guise that you're going to be able to take it with you, it's all superfluous. You need to know that I have 5 of these firearms that qualify. Here's the last 4 digits of those serial numbers. And you have to give that back to me. You cannot keep it. Even under the sponsor's guise, you cannot keep it. What is the harm? We do not, in the United States of America, and explicitly in the state of Rhode Island under 114741, allow registration of firearms or firearm owners. Why do they need the serial number? Why do they need all of that information? The answer is they don't, unless someone's going to retain the information. Let's not have the information out there to be retained. That's all this is. And this voluntary certificate, as we heard in the first offense to someone mischaracterizing the bill, is on the premise that you're perfectly lawful if you don't get it. And semantically, that may be true. However, if you are found to be in possession of one of these firearms and you do not have this voluntary certificate, you are handcuffed, you are printed, you are booked, you are arraigned, you go to a pretrial, you go to a trial, and then, after maybe 2 years, you can provide proof that you lawfully own that firearm before July 1st, 2026. And that'll generate a ton of work for defense attorneys, and that's maybe good. But a person who is doing nothing wrong, who did not want to subject themselves to an invasive process with this voluntary certificate, should not have to sit in jail for 2 years after mortgaging their house, having their name dragged through the mud, and being on the evening news for something they did nothing wrong for. That's not how we roll in this country. Or is that how we want to? This is a very simple amendment. It anonymizes the information as our laws already establish and as our tradition has established. No one has the right to that information except the owner of that firearm. Thank you, Speaker.